Today is Saturday, October 8th, 2022. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for week 3 of Survivor 43.
Okay, so we're hitting the stride now. We've hit the standard length episodes. I'm curious to see what the other super fans thought. If they're like me, yearning for the full 90 minutes, or if they were okay and excited to have 60 back. However it lands, I just want to get a sense of that. And then, of course, what they thought about everything that happened in week 3. How many super fans do we have?
16 this week.
Outstanding. We recognize that it takes an amount of effort to get feedback in. You got to organize your thoughts, and then sometimes people record and re-record. Sometimes they let us know about their struggles when they send it in. We're like, oh, man, well, I'm glad you got it in. I wish I could stop and take time and respond to all of them, but it doesn't quite work out that way as we're going.
Well, and sometimes I'm sure they're aware that we're not always on either. You know, when we start to do the, especially at the end of the day when we do the recap.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes there's just a lot going on, and
oh yeah,
sometimes then we'll get done and we'll be like, we forgot to mention such and such.
Yes, exactly. Well, and that's part of what listener feedback's for too, so we can get that full spectrum analysis of what's going on in our favorite show. Do we need to say anything else before we kick it off?
No, we do not. Let's see what Pete thinks.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here, and even though I know, Stacy, you were talking about it probably on your recap that it was only an hour, not the 90 minutes that we crave for every week, I'm letting out, though, a great big woo! And I'll be honest, guys, I want to hear what everyone else says after. I really thought the blue team was going to finally lose, or maybe the yellow team was going to even lose again because of what they showed with those girls, Ellie and Janine looking into Gabler's bag, Gabler's bag, and then Mike telling him about it, and then Owen playing both sides. I thought we were going to see something crazy going on down there to see where Owen's loyalty was too. So we'll see, but we'll have to wait till next week with that. But anyway, guys, I'll be honest, I'm sad. I mean, a little bit that the red team lost, although I'm not a big fan of Cody, and honestly not too crazy about Jesse either. But I will say I was sad that NECA went home. I thought NECA was awesome at camp, and she did have a good alliance with Cody and Jesse, and based on her final words, looks like she didn't see that coming, that those guys would vote her out. I think she thought Noelle and maybe Dwight she would get maybe 2 votes from those two, Noelle and Dwight, but the other guys with herself would have gotten rid of Noelle, but it didn't pan out, and I think that was the right move, because she struggled in challenges, and this week was the icing on the cake with that puzzle, because they were winning, and it could have sent the blue team finally to tribal. But anyway, guys, love Noelle. I'm starting to grow on her, hoping her and Dwight can keep that alliance going, and I'm curious to see if or when she's going to use that vote steal there that she got on that, whatever the name of that island is called there, when she was with James and Owen. But I was glad for her. She was a beast in the challenge, and she was one of the best in the challenge, too, there, I got to say, from a swimming point of view and physically. And then real quick, guys, the blue team there, I I mean, not much. That was awesome. We got to hear Cassidy. I believe that's her first confessional on TV besides the extra clip last week. And Carla, what an episode for Carla, guys. She did it way better than Cody. Cody was lucky Jesse bailed him out. I'm really growing on Carla. To me right now, she's maybe had the best at it right now, and Noelle's at it to me has improved somewhat too. So we'll see, guys. And now it looks like someone's going to get to take things from someone's camp, whoever wins next challenge. I can't remember when the last season was that happened in. I'll have to look it up. Probably one of the old, I remember it happened in one of the old school seasons, so I'll have to see, guys. But looking forward to it, guys. It's been a good season, guys. A little sad Necca went home. Hopefully the red team can get it together, though, and maybe the blue team will finally go to tribal. We'll see, though. A lot going on, and with numerous advantages. Let's see what happens, guys. Take care. Woo.
Whoa. Thanks, Pete.
I would think it would make it harder to vote off somebody that was a nice person that you enjoyed being around. You know, I think it's a lot easier if it's somebody that's annoying the heck out of you. Just like, yep, okay, yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And you still kind of feel bad for them that their dream's over. But, you know, if it makes it easier for you. But
Gonna
when
be
it's somebody
17.
like that, you know, is a nice person and they all seem to get along.
Gonna be
Especially for Jesse, of course.
17 dreams crushed out there. So, yeah, add another one to the list, huh?
Yeah.
The extra clip with Dwight and NECA, where they went into a little more detail about her doing the twist. Is that what he called it? Twisting his hair. And he talked about how he doesn't normally let anyone touch his hair.
That was a nice moment that they showed that extra and how he was allowing her to enter his space like that.
To your point, exactly. And then to turn around, vote her out.
Yeah.
You know, all those connections. Am I going to vote out my survivor mom for Jesse? Yep. No problem.
Well, I don't know that it wasn't a problem, but it was the right thing overall, I think, for the tribe to keep them stronger because they're losing 2 weeks in a row.
And that question is just a constant tug in the game of Survivor.
Loyalty or strength of the tribe.
Yeah, because you're not going to get Noelle as an alliance partner down the road.
I don't think so.
So you burned her hard. So there wasn't anything graceful about that. So yeah, you got to work together as a tribe to survive, but you made an enemy. So interesting. Well, I look forward to seeing what the other super fans think. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
And Survivor fans, this is Robert from Canada calling in with my listener feedback. I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Now we're down to just 60 minutes, but I thought they packed a lot into this episode, and I thought it was really great. For my vote off this episode, I had Baka going to tribal, and I envisioned a tribe separation where Sammy rallied the boys to majority to boot off one of the girls. So I was pretty happy when he told Gabler about the girls going into the bag. I think my favorite part of this was seeing Ellie being so proud of herself and commenting to Janine about how Gabler has no idea his idol has power. It was pretty awesome and great film editing. Of course, they didn't end up losing, so we didn't get to see how that would have played out. But it could happen next week. I wonder if Owen would consider flipping to the girls and letting them know that Gabler's in on it. After all, he was around when the deed was done. Knowledge is power in this game, and I think that Owen is sort of straddling both sides, and I have a feeling he may think it's an advantage to flip on Sammy and Gabler, but we'll see what happens. Carla was definitely the star of this episode, and she's impressed me more and more each episode, especially considering she was my original vote off for the first episode. At first I was disappointed when she found the Beware advantage again, and it was the exact same thing, but it was at least interesting seeing how she handled it differently, and I'm glad for now that the idol is secret to her. That's something that's been missing in previous seasons, is everyone knows who has idols, so there's never any sort of surprise at Tribal Council, so it'll be interesting seeing how that plays out. I thought NECA left the show with a ton of grace. I was not at all surprised how Tribal Council went. She was too much of a challenge liability. I wonder, had she not volunteered herself for the puzzle, how would things have gone if they had lost? Maybe they would have gone after Noelle, but if she knew she was the target, maybe she would have used her advantage. And if it saved her, then who knows who would have been the next target. It's interesting to consider that such a small decision may have changed how things played out. Next week looks like it'll be an interesting episode. I had the same thought as you, Stacy, that Noelle appears to be the one doing the rating, but who knows? All I know is that this week my wife got a vote off point, and that's one more point than I have, so that's not good. I look forward to seeing how people think next week will play out and who will be vulnerable. If Baka loses, do you guys see Owen sticking with the boys or changing sides? Anyway, I look forward to hearing everyone else's feedback. Take care.
What do you think?
I'm with you, Robert. I think he can go either way.
Right, but he asked, which way do you think he's going to go?
I think he will probably stay with the guys because I see Ellie as more of a threat. Actually, both girls as more of a threat than Gabler down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And that Gabler could get wishy-washy in my opinion, but I don't know. I still think he'll stick with that because he'll see Gabler as less of a threat down the road and the girls as more of a threat.
Yes. And I think that's probably a fair assessment, too, from what we've been given. Of course, that works to your advantage. You've got an alliance partner that's actually less of an overall game threat. That's kind of a good condition. The question for me sort of pivots on how Owen views Sammy. If he's thinking of Sammy as a direct threat, or if they're not getting along for some reason.
He goes with the girls.
Yeah, and then Sammy's gone, because that's really the choice. Is it going to be Ellie? Is it going to be Sammy in that case? Because Gabler should just play. It's expiring. Play it. And yeah, Owen's the pivot, and so where do you go from there? Of course, Sammy's demonstrated that he's got some game sense. He's pretty sharp, so
he could get Gabler to play it for him.
He's gonna. Well, that would be the other kind of twist, I guess, is to try to get him to do that and still take him out. I wouldn't rule that out, but do you really take that risk? We'll see. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I like how they built it up, too. I'm looking forward to seeing how it resolves. And any of those three that went on that last advantage trip are the right choice for who gets to go raid, because there's a connection.
Owen, Noelle, and James.
Mm-hmm. Because of that connection that they have, they would seem to be ideal. I would expect any of those three to be volunteering themselves to do that, since they've got, and that way they can get some extra information.
I
because
absolutely would not volunteer to go.
The other big hope, along with stealing something that your tribe might need, is to try to get information, to try to get intel on what's going on in that tribe. And so to be able to leverage that recently created connection is a way to go. That's certainly a path to consider.
Yeah, I don't think so. You couldn't get me to do it because, as I recall in past, a lot of times they got along okay with the person, but if the person didn't take some of their stuff and tried to kind of be nice to them and not take, then the people back at camp get mad at them.
Yeah.
And then if they do come in there and take it all, well, after they merge, well, we don't like that person.
You got all these enemies
and took all our stuff.
Crippled
and
us,
I'd be like, no, I don't want to be the one to go.
So you're saying it's a lose-lose.
I think it's a lose-lose. That's why I wouldn't volunteer at all.
All right. Well, thanks, Robert. Next up, we got a call from Sandi.
Sandy from Atlanta. Well, I'm going to have to talk fast because I got a lot to say. First of all, Ellie, if Gabler or anyone wants to isolate themselves away from the rest of the tribe, let them. I just think pointing it out to everybody is stupid because then it just comes back on you. Now Gabler is not self-isolating. He's out busy making revenge on you. Girl. Oh, I didn't get to comment on Cody and his thing he had to do with the beads. Of course he got it in time. That boy has ADHD. He can be brilliant, as we have seen. He has come up with some great ideas. Can he remember to wear pants in the morning? Let's see. Why I am so drawn to Jesse and how he's playing methodically. this is an individual game from the get-go. It's not a team sport at any time. I don't understand. He's got that mentality, which I like. And the guys that are not losing, well, it's going to come up eventually. But anyway, I don't like the advantages with the beads. I think that's just insane. I don't know how to make it any better, but I don't know. I also did not like them giving Noelle that advantage. I thought it was cool that she put it in her leg. And I thought it was cool that she said, I wouldn't risk my vote. That's so logical that she wouldn't risk her vote. Of course not. But at Tribal Council, it was obvious that she knew that Nika was going home. So that was an easy choice. She didn't have to use her advantage. But Nika, honey, if you're going to be in Survivor and you have no idea what you're doing, look frantic. Look busy, trying, instead of sitting there. Is this the second time that she's done that? I should have seen that coming a mile away. Okay, guys, I still don't know who or what the cartoon is that Gabler looks like. It's got to be an old, and I'm 150, so really old one. I think it's way back in Warner Brother days. You know, black and whites. Bye, everybody.
All right, thanks, Sandy. Well, she didn't comment on your guess. Did we share
what?
that? Your guess as to who she was thinking Gabler looked like, the cartoon. Yeah, we responded before. You said Yosemite Sam, and that's definitely a Warner Brother cartoon, but she didn't weigh in on whether or not that was a hit. I'm still thinking Alice the Goon from Popeye. All right, thanks, Sandy. Next up, we got a call from Chris.
Hi, Joanna and Stacey. It's Chris from Minneapolis calling. Really like what they've done with the Blair advantage. We really get to see the social game, which I think is huge because I feel like when Erica won a couple seasons back, I just had no idea why she won, and I'm sure it had to do with her social game, but they never showed it. And so I feel like this is a great way to earn an immunity. The other thing that caught my attention was voting out NECA. I really thought that was an error, even though keeping Noelle my USB made me happy. I just think for the longevity of the two guys, I just thought that having somebody like NECA who you can trust, to the end, I mean, that's worth its weight in gold. So I just really thought that was a bad decision. And I guess my last thought is feeling like the cast is a little underwhelming at this point. I think, to get a top 10 season, you need to have a really good cast, and I don't feel it right now. Hopefully things will start to get going. But overall, the season's been good, but just with a few more fireworks here. So.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I think Chris is on it there. We were talking about it earlier, too, but NECA would have been such a better alliance partner at the merge that they really, to vote for the alliance and get Justine out and then vote against the idea of the alliance and for tribe strength and take NECA out, that flip-flopping like that might be their undoing, especially now that Noelle's got a secret weapon. So just like I'm looking forward to seeing how the showdown between Ellie and Gabler, I'm looking forward to seeing if Noelle gets a chance to fire back at Jesse and Cody, because I think one of them, and of course knocking Cody out with an immunity idol would be the most impressive kill, but I think it would be more to her benefit to take Jesse out, because I think Cody's less of a threat down the road than Jesse is from a revenge perspective. Cody would kind of shake it off and keep going.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake to get rid of NECA, even though, like I said, she wasn't that good in challenges, but loyalty in a small tribe like that is really important as well, and especially
when you choose it to begin with.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris. Next up, we got an email from Mary in Maryland.
Hello, Joanne and Stacey. It's been fun watching the show again and listening to you and the other fans on the podcast again this season. Finally remembering to get my feedback in on time this week.
Yay.
Overall, I feel it's a very pleasant cast. No standout villains yet, which honestly I find refreshing. I have to disagree with Joanne. I thought Dwight looked great with his hair done, very sharp. I thought it was a nice moment to include NECA doing his hair. Yeah, that part was nice. I guess it's more about me than it is about him because when my hair was long and I did all that stuff, I had such headaches from it being pulled so tight.
Yeah.
So that's all I could see was pain.
Well, you do see him wincing a little bit, but
Well, when she's doing it,
he's
for
obviously
sure, but-
up for it because he had to sit there for hours from the way it's described. Check out that extra video, Mary. It's good.
Carla is impressing me more than I thought she would. Joanne, I said the same thing. What would people want with one earring? I'm surprised people went for that offer. I definitely preferred the bead-seeking beware advantage over having to repeat those silly phrases.
Amen.
I was very glad to see the new release mechanism on the underwater buoys. In the past, this has always been a real struggle during challenges. I love that Geo checked under the bench for an advantage. We are always yelling at the screen when players don't check. It was so great to see he actually did. I love that Noelle did the advantage or hid the advantage in her leg. And as far as lying about what went down on the boat ride, I thought she was more than convincing, and certainly more than most when she reported back to the tribe. NECA seemed like a lovely person, but a logical boot at this stage, so I'm not too heartbroken. I have Ellie as my vote-off pick for next week. It seems like the rest of the tribe is onto the fact that she's trying to run the show, and it may backfire on her. I don't think I've ever gotten a vote-out pick correct, though.
Okay, we're going to weigh that, but I understand how you're thinking for sure.
Until next week. All right. Thanks, Mary.
You know, something that throws me off, and I thought of it when you were reading Mary's feedback, is a lot of times I'll think Ellie's talking, and it turns out it's Janine.
Yeah.
And because they're kind of on the same similar tracks of what they're saying, I'll think, oh, that must be Ellie. I think that's Ellie's voice, and it's Janine. And so sometimes I misattribute something that's said about Gabler, because Janine's no Gabler fan either, that I'll attribute it to Ellie and then realize, oh, that was actually Janine who said that. But yeah, I like more of the showdown with Ellie, since she's been talking about how she's viewing them all as kids and how all that just set up for a fall.
Well, they edited that in for a reason.
Yeah, building the drama. Thanks, Mary. Next up, we got a call from Nora.
Hi, Stacy and Joanne. It's Nora, and I know what I wanted to ask you guys. What do you think of this? Look at the puzzles in every episode. They're gigantic pieces on purpose, not just, oh, the audience wants to see them, but they cannot be handled by a single person. So because they're so unwieldy, and the place where you're supposed to put them together is such that you, one person, cannot run around and grab that piece all the way back to your end of the table, put it on, it suggests to me that I think there should be a conversation among every single person who wants to enter Survivor that goes like this. What is the best way for two people to accomplish those gigantic pieces? And it's obvious to me. One person has the eyeballs on seizing in on a certain piece, looking around and looking for a connecting color or angle, and the other person does the running and bringing it. To me, that's really the only likely thing. I find it hard to believe that people sit at Survivor around the campsite and nobody goes, listen, let's just pretend you and I are going up there to do the puzzle. what does it look like, and acting it out. Those giant pieces are at 4 different corners that you have to run to one end to get and haul it back. It seems kind of crazy that both people should be doing the identification and retrieval of each piece and placement. It's just a task that is naturally set up to be, I can't do this by myself. You have to bring me the piece because it's way the heck over. We're in a race. It's way on the other side. You bring me that. So I find it almost impossible that nobody acts it out or sits around the camp and figures out the best way to do a puzzle. People seem to be wrapped up in their own insecurity about how I'm good at puzzles or not. Well, why not put that thought aside and just say, what's the most economical way in a race to do this? Okay, so I also want to say my girl Janine was the one who finished the winning puzzle. And a lot is said about Ellie, but Ellie, I don't know, she's not as smart as Janine for sure. She's in trouble. She's going to get voted off because every bossy person does. Just seems to me like I chose well choosing Janine to be the smartest person. She was the first one to do the bones placement, find the highest number out of these bones, move them. She made the winning move, even though the young 19-year-old lad, Sammy, thought about it. She was the one who came up with the winner. So I'm still for her. But I'll tell you what, if she is not making best friends stabbing Ellie in the back right now, then I am out of USB for sure. Anyway, Jesse has won our heart. I think we're all secretly hoping for him. Thank you so much for all you do.
All right. Thanks, Nora. Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Joanne and Stacy, everyone, this is Drew. I am on my way to work, and I just remembered sending my feedback, which is good because I did remember my picks this week, and
Yay.
Believe it or not, it was a good thing I did because I scored full points.
Wow.
I have Nina to thank
Good
probably
job.
for both of those because she always has a lot of good insight on the Facebook group. I was kind of leaning toward NECA at one point, but then that was a good tip from her. Also, she always sends me a personalized reminder on the Facebook group to put in my picks, which, between Julie, between the feedback show, if I can't get my picks in, there's something going on that I just need to see a therapist about or something because, come on. But I thought it was a good episode. I don't know. I think the longer episodes give more time for kind of like, I guess we call it backstory. I was calling them pity parties, but I don't know. It's good to get to know them. I just feel like they're really, really leaning into that this time. Last week, especially because it was a little longer, and then this week too. Not quite as much because it wasn't quite as long an episode. But I don't know. I always think that usually comes later because there are fewer players left, and so you kind of get more into that. And so it did seem kind of like a flag that NECA was probably a likely target this week. But I don't know. I just feel like I like to get to know them as people, but I also want to see a little bit more gameplay, and I know that informs their gameplay. I get that, but they kind of respond based on their background and their history. Oh, I did remember. I wanted to say, Stacy, I totally caught the throw mama from the train reference.
Yes.
I really appreciate that. I say the clumsy poop thing to my kids lately, and they think it's hilarious. I also wanted to say, I'm bummed that the main reason I'm bummed that I missed out on Javik is because I didn't in time send in my bid for the side challenge, which I usually do. So I'm in spirit. I'm on the side challenge. I'm keeping track along with you guys. I think I'm, pretty nicely in the middle group there somewhere. But I hope everyone has a really good weekend. I have a concert tonight after work, so I've just got kind of a busy day. But yeah, talk to you all later. Bye.
All right.
I really want to hear about that visit to the therapist. That why
gonna
can't I
straighten
get
that
my
out.
picks in on time to the fantasy league? That's cute, Drew.
Yeah, break a leg on your concert tonight. I hope you have a really good one. And good job on getting all those points. Or should I say, good job, Nina. Moving on. We got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy, it's David in Pittsburgh, and here's my opinion of a very brief episode of Survivor. I picked Noelle to be the one voted out, but as soon as that boat ride pick was made, I thought, this is not going to work out in my favor. I'm glad she's still in the game, but I needed that vote out point. Nico was such a sweetie, but she's not the puzzle master. There were too many shots of her and Jesse looking over at the other's puzzle. In her interview with Dalton Ross, she admitted that she was put on the puzzle because she didn't want to jump from a high platform. She'd only learned to swim right before being on Survivor, and she was afraid of the high jump. I like seeing her backstory. She is a gentle soul and a bright light, just like Mariah. Sorry to see her go, but their tribe won in strength, and they were right in dropping the weakest member. I don't know if anybody else on their tribe is going to be able to master the puzzles, but I'm predicting their team will win the next challenge and not go to tribal council. As for Noelle, she's playing a great physical game, and talk about nerves of steel at tribal council. She could have been played a second time and then left with an advantage in her pocket. Well, in her leg. I really wonder why Baka picked her and James and then let Owen volunteer to go on the boat ride. They know there's a possible advantage waiting for them. I hope later on we'll find out how they came to that decision. And the other player highlighted this episode was Carla. I thought she played well, analyzing whether she should take a chance on the Beware advantage. And I love seeing how she traded for beads, especially when she got to Ryan and he offered to trade socks. I thought that was funny. She's got good gameplay. She does well in the challenges. I'm a little concerned that I'm not seeing her connection with Gio anymore. After their private conversation about families, I'll be disappointed if she votes him off first. But we're really not seeing a lot of this tribe because they keep winning challenges. It'll be interesting to see who gets voted off first at the tribal council. As for someone who watched a season of Australian Survivor this past summer with thousands of players and a year's worth of episodes, I have to admit that now watching American Survivor, it goes by much too fast. I wish they'd add a few more extended episodes, but I don't want to see more contestants. It's much easier knowing most of them when they're on 3 tribes, and yet I'd like them to go back to 2 tribes. With smaller tribes, it's harder in the beginning for players to have a number of options. I think in a larger tribe, Nika would have lasted longer, like Sari. Being liked by everyone could still be an advantage, and sometimes that helps you win Survivor. Right, Marianne? Talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Yeah, that seems like a great point. I think I agree that it gives you a little more cover room. There's just so little. If you get on a losing streak, that there's nowhere to hide in these tiny tribes.
But he's right. It is easier to remember who's on what tribe if there's less of them.
Yeah.
And you kind of remember them better because they're broken up that way.
Yeah.
Or I do. I can't speak for anybody else.
Yeah, it gives you 3 buckets to put them in. So, yeah, totally makes sense. Yeah, that's why I had done the same thing last year watching those Australian Survivors. So when we came into the 26 days, it was just a little bit of a shock. It's like, wow, this is budget Survivor. They're spending the big bucks and making the big investments over in Australia. Thanks, David. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Park from Indiana, and I missed last week's feedback, but I thought it was super enjoyable. I loved the Justine vote out. I thought it was an interesting choice to go with alliance strength over tribe strength. So I was like, okay, Cody, Jesse, I really saw them as the stars of that episode, especially Cody with the hat idol. That was hilarious. So I put Dwight as my vote off because I felt like they'd probably lose again because I really felt like their story was set up to continue on that tribe because they just seemed like they were spiraling, especially the fact that they kept Nneka, which she's super nice, such a nice human, way too nice for a Survivor, which I think we saw the consequences of that in this episode. And then Carla finding the Beware advantage and then not picking it up. I was like, yes, finally, somebody doesn't pick up the thing that says frickin' Beware on it, like you saw last season. If it doesn't work out, you're going to lose your vote up till merge. That sucks. It boggled my mind that she went back to it. Come on, what are you doing? Carla, But she worked it out, and it was super entertaining. It got me when she asked Ryan, like, hey, let's switch something, to remember each other by. Let's switch our beads. And then he's, I want my beads. Let's switch socks. That got me. I cracked up. It's still making me laugh now. It's just the thought of like people on Survivor switching their sweaty, gross socks is just hilarious to me. But hey, good on Carla. She has her vote. She's proving to be a super entertaining player. Super fun to watch. So I'm kind of invested in Carla now. But then the Vesi tribe, they're such a... Well, first, okay, Baka tribe is also a hot mess because the guts of Ellie to try and trick Gabler into thinking that his idol is no longer good, hilarious. I can kind of see where Gabler would be dumb enough to believe it, but again, this should be common knowledge. Survivor players can ask production, especially if it's their advantage. They can ask, hey, how the heck does this thing work? Is it done or not? And they'll say, no, it's not done. You have one more tribal. Because they want them to know how their advantages freaking work. They may not tell everybody on the tribe, but the person who has it can certainly find out. So really, Ellie, you're gonna try that? But she went for it, and it was hilarious. And then over to Vesi. Once again, Cody Jesse leading the vote, but I was boggled because I really expected them to go for Dwight because I thought that he would react poorly to the last vote, which he kind of did. Why are you aligning with Noelle? She's on the bottom two. Like, you should be trying to get him back in good graces with the other two, which he must have done because they decided to go for tribe strength over alliance strength. Even the last vote, they went with the opposite. So that interested me. And I started thinking maybe they just really didn't like Justine, which I can kind of see, I guess. But I really didn't want that tribe to lose at all because I really like everybody. Even NECA, who I see is like the least valuable player on that tribe. And then Dwight is a mess, but I think he's so fun to watch. Noelle's a beast. And then Jesse and Cody are just super entertaining, and I love their kind of duo that they got going on. And now that NECA's out of the picture, I guess they've gotten closer. It should be interesting if they lose again to see which of the two pairs wins out, because now Noelle has a steal vote. But yeah, that's all I got. I will see you guys next time.
Thanks, Parker. Next up, we got a call from Kim.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Kim from North Carolina. Just some short feedback. I'm not playing JSFL, but thanks to Paul's visual roster, I'm sort of keeping up with who everybody is. I really like how we've seen more information about the participants. I like the 2-hour episode and then 90-minute episode. I think that helps a lot to create interest in the different people. So I figured NECA was probably going because what a great story. How are you gonna not vote for her if she makes it to the end? So far the players that stand out are Cody, although I'm not sure he'll make it to the end unless we see more of his soft side. Sammy is really strong, but seems like he's a little bit of a jerk. Ryan is a really strong competitor, as is Noelle. She was a beast in the challenge. Like Cameron, I'm pulling for Jesse, and I loved how in Tribal Council he started talking about the flaw in the informal poll that they were taking. Maybe we'll have some more mathy type talk to discuss this season, but I am worried about him being able to stay around. Noelle seems like she's on the outs, even though she hasn't been voted out, so it makes me wonder if she makes it to the merge, is she somebody who's gonna be looking for new partners? As for NECA, even though she had a short stay in the game, it seemed like she really valued the relationships that she had started to build. I think probably the coolest thing about being able to participate in Survivor would be to have that unique experience with a small group of people, like the relatively small group that has played Survivor. Have a great week, everybody. Hope to be better about getting my feedback in early, and appreciate everything you do. Bye.
Thanks, Kim. I heard that snap, and I think she did the finger gun at the end. Like that. Without the click. Without the tongue click.
Okay.
All right. Good to have you back, Kim. Next up, we got an email from Josh the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, last week I said I was glad idols and advantages weren't falling from trees yet. Carla's limb shaking almost made it happen this week. That didn't last long. My other observations. If Dwight and Jesse get an island divorce, which one will CBS Legal represent? Ellie should stick with clinical psychology and not pursue an acting career. I don't know, those eyes, they're so expressive. Owen says he's in the middle. Is he a monkey? Youngest tribe member Sammy is tired of being seated at the kiddie table by Ellie. Gabler's not a doctor, but he tries to play one on TV. Owen should leave eyebrow raises to Mr. Spock in WWE's The Rock. Birthday boy James wants to look for an idol. Playing musical chairs would be safer. Carla incubates ideas by assuming Zoolander poses. Yeah, those are over the top. Dwight decided to pass the time by getting his hair done at NECA's salon. Note to Ryan's girlfriend, if he proposes, pick out your own ring or you might get a used sock. I wonder if NECA's mission will benefit from the PSA Survivor did for them. You would think so. I think she has a GoFundMe set up for it now that she also mentioned in her exit interviews, so that should help too. Geo's sit-out bench search was fruitless. On Survivor 2.0, they hide advantages under the raft. If there's a pre-merge eating challenge, will Jeff yell out, "Chew, Baka"?
That's very good.
There we go. That is super dad joke level. Will Gabler use the tool set to build an island operating room to feel at home? If Vesi wins a milk reward, Noelle's sour expression will probably curdle it. Jesse voted out his island mom. Who does he think he is? Cerie Easton? Sierra, thank you. It's been a long time since I've seen that. Sierra Easton, she voted out her mom, you know.
I do know.
I've heard that. Noelle says she's the bottom of the boat. Is she a hull of a player? Door number 1 had a steal a vote. Door number 2 had 2 tribal idols. What's behind door number 3?
2 tribal idol.
What's that?
It says a 2 tribal idol.
Oh, gotcha. So in terms of if they all 3 risk it, how big of a reward is it going to be in that third one if we get that kind of situation? If the tribe had searched Noelle, I doubt they would have looked in her foot. Cody learned his mad math skills from watching Brad Culpepper on Survivor. Besides the advantage, Noelle keeps a spare key and $43 in her foot for emergencies. Carla's guiding principle is WWD.
WWWD.
What would wifey do? Noelle says she has lots of more leg jokes, but I think she's pulling our leg. Jesse's doctoral thesis was about the effect of applying multiple scales to survey results. Carla's technique for getting beads reminded me of Yankee swaps at Christmas parties. When Tribal Council revealed confidence survey scores, Noelle was the Russian judge. Is "I'll go tally the votes" the latest casualty of Survivor 2.0? Did he not say that?
I don't know.
Oh, wow. We missed it.
We have to go look now.
Yeah. How will the steal a vote work if it's declared after voting ends? No, it's got to be before. That was Joanne goofing it.
I don't think it has to be before.
Yes. Has to be before you vote. You're being silly.
Before.
You're going to recognize this. 3, 2, 1.
I haven't yet. So.
Jesse must have done a Jedi mind trick to avoid responsibility for the puzzle fail. Indeed. Is "keep the tribe strong" a euphemism for vote out all the women? It seems to be tracking that way, doesn't it? Next time the winning tribe steals from another tribe, will the steal a vote get stolen? Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Thanks, Josh. Next up, we got a call from Cameron.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Cameron from North Carolina. I really did not have much to say this week. I barely took any notes. Thought the episode just didn't leave you with too much commentary to add this week, but I'll go ahead and say some stuff anyway. First off, I hear you loud and clear. I keep saying USB 40. It is USB 24. I'm aware. I don't know why the 40 just pops in my mind, but I will get it right. I promise. Although, if you felt like giving me 40 points, if I get it right, I will not complain.
Oh.
Anyhow, when we saw Gio look under the bench at the challenge, that proves my point last week that everyone on Survivor watches Survivor. They're very into it. So he knows that in past seasons it's been commonplace to stick an idol right where he was. So he was smart to at least check there. Otherwise, I think on the Baka tribe, the lines are growing more divided by gender. Maybe they're just editing it that way to fool us, but it definitely seems like the guys are going to stick together there. Over on Coco, good for them on being good at challenges. I think Carla went about the beware advantage much better than Cody did. As opposed to, I want these bees for myself. She played it, I want it for my wife. And if you do it for like a parent or a significant other, that would be the way to do it. So kudos to her for that. On Vesi, I'm a little upset because, once again, I swear it happens on week 3 more often than not with me, but I let my darn picks roll over, and I was fine. I was like, yeah, none of these safe picks are going home, but lo and behold, I had NECA safe.
Ruh-roh.
I did not think she was going to go. I wouldn't have picked her because I already used 2 points on her, but I'm pretty surprised that she did go. I thought she was going to be good at least earlier than halfway through jury. She seemed to be playing a good social game out the gate. So unfortunate to see her go. Is what it is. That's about all I got this week, I think. Joanne and Stacy, everyone out there, hope everyone's doing good, and I will talk to you all next week.
All right. Thanks, Cameron.
And remember, it is fine to let your picks roll over, but if you do it 3 consecutive weeks in a row, the website will drop you for the season. It will assume you have quit playing.
Yes.
So don't do it 3 weeks in a row.
There you go. There you go. Thanks again, Cameron. Next up, we got a call from Noelle.
Hi everyone, it's Noelle calling from Albuquerque. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That episode was so much better. I think they heard me. They were playing less scared this time. I was so proud of Noelle. She is amazing in challenges and also did not hold back on that, whatever we're calling that island now. She did a great job, although I would have preferred to see her take a shot at Jessie over NECA. I think it's probably best for her game that NECA goes. And given that it seemed like it was unanimous, I don't think she should have told Dwight about her advantage. Like, the only reason to tell Dwight about it is if you're planning to use it, I think. But then again, Dwight also went to that island, so maybe she had no choice but to tell him. I kind of thought she was going to get another idol because that's what Gabler got, but she got, a steal a vote. That's going to be interesting to see play out, and it's really going to be interesting to see how the dynamics on that tribe shift now, because it definitely felt like the original split was over NECA and Justine, and now that they're both gone, I wonder if the dynamics are going to shift again and new alliances will form, or maybe Noelle will take a shot at Jessie. Would love to see it, here for it. Baka, I'm so surprised. I'm still baffled about the Mariah vote out, so I've been expecting them to continue to fail at challenges because Mariah was not the weak link at the first challenge that they did. So every single week I pick a vote out from Baka, expecting them to be the losing tribe, but then they keep doing so well at challenges that I'm like, well, what happened? Maybe Mariah was weaker than I thought she looked. I was watching the episode with my daughter, and we're like watching the challenge, and then Jeff is, it's down to Vesi and Coco, and now Vesi is going to tribal again. And I was like, wait, what about Baka? She's like, they finished a long time ago. I'm like, what? It's just, everything about Baka is so baffling to me. I don't have a good read on that tribe at all. The whole segment with Carla was so fun. I really thought she was going to leave that advantage, or maybe try to talk James into going to get it. That was really fun the way that was played out and edited. And that was exciting to watch how she got the beads. I love this idea. Last year with the funny phrases was so much fun, and this year with the funny mission is so much fun. I hope they can keep this going for a while. Obviously, it has to stay a surprise because people watch the show. I was really, really proud of Gio for looking for an advantage under that bench, although I guess I'm not surprised there wasn't one because it's kind of early in the season for that, right? Okay, I think that's all I've got. I hope everybody has a great weekend. I have absolutely no idea who to pick as a vote out next week, and I have no idea who to pick for my next USB. I'm completely lost here. Hoping that things will become more clear before I have to make those decisions. So I could really use some help from everybody. Who do they think is going to get voted out? Maybe I should stop picking Baka, but as soon as I do, they'll go to tribal. So what can you do? Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, Noelle. Yeah, that's got to be the case, right?
Would be for me, I'm sure.
Next up, we got a call from Christine.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy, and all you Survivor super fans. It's Christine. Just Christine from Hawaii. Aloha. Sorry we missed our feedback last week. Jade was sick and lost her voice, and she's still not feeling 100% yet. But thankfully it wasn't COVID, but just a very nasty flu, and she is feeling better. We were able to watch the episode this week, and we loved it. More fun with beads and other arts and crafts, so that was cute. I was disappointed with Carla's initial choice of leaving the Beware advantage, but she completely redeemed herself going back for it and using her charm and wit to get her beads and totally earn that idol. Carla, way to go. I think maybe they were showing us this because Coco Tribe will be going to tribal council next week, and I really hope so because it does get old when the same tribe goes to council week after week. I am getting a little nervous for my USB Owen. I'm definitely picking up some Omar vibes with him playing both sides with the whole Ellie and Gabler thing. I just hope he walks that tightrope a little bit better than Omar did. But that was some good acting, but please just be careful, Owen. Vesi, this tribe that I thought would be so strong, is really struggling. Looks like Noelle and Dwight could be a good alliance if given enough time and the tribe manages to win the next challenge. But otherwise, I think Noelle will be the next voted off if they lose. And that's who I'm going to pick, but you just never know. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, and all you super fans. We hope.
Thanks, Christine. Hope you get well soon, Jade. And so you think Noelle's going to go, even though she's got the steal a vote, huh? I think she could work it out if Dwight will stand strong with her.
If Dwight will, then yeah,
they'll get the 3-2, and they'll be dictating what's happening.
That is true.
It's going to come down to whether or not there's a puzzle in the next challenge. As long as there's not a puzzle, they've got a chance. But if there's a puzzle, they're going to be back there again. And I'm like Noelle in the previous one. I'm totally up for seeing Noelle in the game take out Jessie, if that's the way that she's going to go to get her revenge for Justine. Looking for these revenge showdowns. Thanks, Christine. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. Jeremiah here with some feedback for this week's episode of Survivor, which I felt was a pretty solid episode. Kind of straightforward when it comes to who went home. Like the two of you, I had that tribe going to tribal council, and I had Noelle to go home. And of course, that did not work out too well, but that's okay. I was actually very impressed with Noelle's gameplay. She not only handled herself very well socially, but then of course she also got that much needed advantage that she needed to probably help eventually convince the rest of them not to vote her out. Although I will admit, though, I think that they made the right choice here in the very end as far as keeping that tribe strong. You know, you do not want to continue to lose numbers, obviously. So it made a lot of sense for the direction they wind up going. I have to admit, though, I'm kind of curious how the dynamics break down now that they've gone this direction. Is Cody the person that's out at this point? I guess so. Now, I did not mention anything last week in my feedback, but let me go ahead and touch on this now when it comes to the Beware advantage, which of course we got to see Carla handle it very well. And might I say, probably a little bit better than Cody, because I don't think Cody gets those beads without the help. But Carla here, oh my goodness, what some amazing social skills she performed this week to get those beads. I was extremely impressed with this girl. But yeah, as far as the way they're handling it, I do kind of like this. I like the fact that the producers who came up with this idea to make it all about social skills, because we all know that is one of the most important things about the game of Survivor is being able to have those skills socially. And I really kind of like how this works out. So I didn't mention it last week, but I just wanted to throw that out there. First of all, I like the way they're doing this with the Beware advantage, easy for me to say. And obviously, of course, this week I was extremely impressed with Carla. I know I said it after episode 1, but yes, definitely Carla is someone to keep an eye on. She's either going very, very far, or she's going to burn out sometime soon. But I think she's going to be here for the long run. And I have to eat some humble pie because I had her as someone as potential first off vote. So I'm happy to find out I'm very wrong. As far as next week's concerned, who is going to go home? On Baka, you think it looks like maybe Ellie and Janine are in trouble. Coco is a big mystery. I still think Gio, perhaps.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned earlier on Vesi, I guess Cody, and potentially though Noelle could still be voted out as well. Because we can't forget the fact that Cody does have an immunity idol. Right now I'm leaning towards Janine, but I'm sure my mind can be changed. All right, well, that's it for me. You guys take care. Until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here. Well, I'm pleased to say that although my initial impressions were underwhelming when I first saw the survivors, I am enjoying things so far. But I always do. I just don't know why I worry like that. So first off, Carla continues to impress me. And you know what? I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have had the social skills to get everyone to give me their beads, especially since people want keepsakes to take home with them. But then again, I wouldn't have earrings to barter with. Were they like a personal item or something? If so, it seems an odd choice to have. Also, when she was asking James all those questions about what he would do if he found a beware advantage, well, I think he's one of the last people I'd take advice from. I mean, this is the guy who announced that he wanted to go idol hunting for his birthday, as if that powerless bracelet wasn't enough. But then again, only James couldn't put two and two together to figure out why Carl is asking these rather precise questions. And I hate to point this out, but Jesse is no puzzle solver either. He had a deer caught in headlights look on his face the whole time. He seemed to be putting more effort into looking at the other team's puzzle than solving his own. And I was half expecting him to finally shout out, "It's a turtle! Make a turtle, Nika!" Yeah, good choice in getting rid of her, though. And I laughed when Cody said, "Maybe we made the wrong decision keeping her." Still, if Cody handles the next puzzle, and I think he will, then Vesi will most likely end their losing streak. Now, Ellie, oh man, is she being played and is she feeling cocky or what? Why would she be unsure if Gabler knows the rules of his idol when he has a paper with it spelling it all out for him? And anyone else who happens to go through his bags. Is he that clueless? Still, I'm starting to think that if Gabler manages to stay awake at his next tribal council, then perhaps Ellie will be blindsided. But I also have faith that Gabler can screw that up spectacularly. The man is essentially sleepwalking his way through the game, and everyone knows it. If he keeps napping his way out of work, then Sammy and Owen may just turn on him, which would allow Ellie to stroke her ego even more when she succeeds in getting him out. So some quick final thoughts. Ryan continues to impress me, while Dwight constantly underwhelms me. And it looks like we have a Noelle, James, Owen cross-tribe alliance going on, even though I suspect James won't make the merge. Lastly, this week I'm leaning towards Baka losing with Ellie or Gabler going home. I'm one of the few out there that's not impressed with Ellie, especially after her recent performance, so I think she could very well go if Gabler decides to keep his eyes open over the next 3 days. If not, well, I think his goose is cooked. And I guess that's it for me. Everyone take care. Bye.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I guess it might be James if Coco ends up going, huh? Because Gio and Ryan, we've been shown a connection between them. We got the whole, hey, we're like brothers thing going on. And
yeah, but the three girls want James.
Well, they did. What would flip it?
I can't imagine.
Well, there was some connection between Carla and Gio. And Carla said she wasn't 100% sure that she was in with the Women's Alliance, that she had options.
Well, it can always turn, but I would still think Gio was I mean, they sit him out almost every challenge.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you? They have least confidence in him on the tribe. Now, if they're getting closer where they think it's going to merge,
exactly,
that could change.
Yes.
Then he becomes a lesser threat. They might even decide to go, we could afford to get rid of Ryan. We're about to emerge. Let's get rid of that powerhouse before we go to the merge, because he's not with us. So, and Carla might think, well, if he doesn't have Ryan, for sure, I can pull him in closer. So yeah, it just depends on where their mindset is. But for right now, since it's not that close to the merge, I think they probably would get rid of him. He seems to be the less productive on the tribe.
Yeah, I guess there's definitely something to that. Again, it's going to come down to whether or not there's a puzzle.
Well, I almost kind of want them to go just so we can see what's really going on the tribe.
Yeah, you want the...
Because you don't know till they go
trial by fire. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Well, thanks to everyone who took time to share your thoughts and your predictions with us today. We enjoyed it. We appreciate hearing from all of you.
If you play in JSFL, don't forget to make your Week 4 picks for one person voted off and 4 people who you think will still be in the game at the end of the episode.
If you want to join us on these listener feedback shows, you're welcome to call and leave a voicemail at 206-350-1547, toll free 844-643-8737. You can record your own audio and attach it, or just type up a quick text message and send it to us via email at joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays, and we ask that you keep it in the 3-minute range. Everybody did fantastic this week, so thank you so much.
Is there anything else that we haven't discussed?
No. I'm just trying to decide, if there's no puzzle, how are things going to play out? And then how big of an impact is the steal something from the tribes scenario going to be? How's that, that dynamic
about that.
going to play out?
Well, it seemed to have a couple of the team, they were fired up about going to war. And so, I think it'll be emotional if it's their tribe that gets raided.
Yep. Certainly could be. And then it comes down to, how does that person manage it?
That's why I said no volunteering for that job.
All right.
Not for me.
We're looking forward to seeing how it plays out next week.
All right. We'll be back here on Wednesday with our next recap.
Have a good one.